Hello everyone, G6 Papa Bear here. Another unscripted quick video. I've used this build a couple times, and I used it yesterday and had a lot of fun with it. If you're running with a strong team, it can really be a big help. Um, typically, I always run sniper class, and most of the guys that I run with run assault class. So the tough part about sniper is obviously that you're a little bit squishier, so you have to make sure you drop them first, or else you're in trouble. But one of the benefits to it is there's a high damage output, so it's a risk versus reward. Um, and there is a way to make it so that it's even more lucrative and even a little bit stronger for you, and for the benefit of your team. So if you're playing with a team where uh, they can support, they can take care of some of the little stuff, some of the drones, whatever it might be. And if you really practice with what I'm showing you to where you're getting good with it, um, then you will see a difference in the damage output that you're able to do. Notice I'm putting silencers on both my weapons. So here's the idea. It's basically worth running sharpshooter class to run both an M14 Assault and an M82 Cerberus. The main purpose of this is that when we get our special rounds, we load them into the M14 Assault. And then we fight everything else with our Cerberus. And, this is especially important, I guess. This is especially important for boss fights. During the rest of the time, it doesn't really make a difference. You're not using your hot rounds anyway. But especially during boss fights, this is especially as important. The reason is the M14 Assault will fire off those 3 rounds very quickly, where the Cerberus will take just a smidge longer to do it. But you can very easily quickly fire off your 3 hot rounds with the M14 and then switch over to your Cerberus. With the M14, to make it a little bit more controllable, I use the short barrel so that we're getting less vertical recoil. It is shortening the range, but it doesn't matter in this situation. I just use the standard mag just so it's easy to reload very quickly. I don't want to add any reload time. And the small magazine would reload faster, but it's not necessarily. I do use the suppressor and then the non-suppressor. If you wanted to go totally crazy, you could use the compensator. It would make it even more manageable. If you wanted to take that moment before a fight. I use the ATPL laser, as always, to get rid of that horizontal recoil, and to give us a little bit of shot spread, as opposed to using the Maul D, which would just give us more range, a little bit less sway, and more shot spread. I don't care about sway at all, and the range doesn't make a difference. So I happen to use the digital scope. Your options are limited on this weapon for what you could use. You could use the SLX5 sight. That is a longer scope, though. The digital is just what I've become comfortable with, so use what you're comfortable with. But I do like the fact that this one goes between 1 and 4 times. But I typically will just use it in 4 times. And again, for whatever reason, I'm just super comfortable with the digital scope at this point. So use what you're comfortable with, but you don't have a lot of long scope options. And I'm just not a fan. This VC16 is neat, but again, that 6 times is a little overboard for what we're going to use this gun for. We're going to use it more for close range combat, so we're much better off the other way. I use a core CP, as always, to get rid of the vertical recoil, and then as always, I use a grip pod to get rid of vertical recoil and to give me back just a smidge of range. Obviously, we could drop down to the shift and not get the extra range, and then also not get that negative speed while aiming. So to speed up the speed while aiming, but it's not the end of the world. We're fine. The Cerberus, pretty much a standard setup on that. I use the dual range sight all the time because it allows me to do a 4x5 scope, which is perfect for sniping almost anything. And then I can switch to that little scope that's up on top when we get into the computer room to be able to do some stuff with computer. In addition, I am running, because I've seen it work on other ones. You know what? If it's in the game and it's working, I'm going to use it. So here's my P320 I use because it's got technique cooldown on it and a little bit of automatic marking. Does it work for sure? I don't know, but I like having it on there. And there is times when I see the automatic marking kick in as well. even when I'm on one of my other weapons. So I like having it holstered. Again, it's not gospel, man. I'm not saying it works every time, but I have seen it work. So what the heck, why not? I also happen to have a trucker hat with a little bit of extra technique cooldown on. That's not a lot of technique cooldown, but again, it's nice to be able to get those rounds back every once in a while. So what the heck, why not, right? I run a lot of health regen on this build, but one of the things that I made as a major change is I was lucky enough to pick up the Pioneer Pathfinder gloves, which gives me plus 30% accuracy, and the Pioneer vest, which is plus 30 handling. Those are some pretty big additions, and I've noticed a difference, especially in the sniper rifle. So I'm using them to try to get as much out of this gun as possible. I think that it is Gunslinger where it tells you that, for accuracy, shot stability, and sway. So the main reason I like using those gloves and getting my accuracy up so high is that means that on that sniper rifle, I'm going to have a little bit less sway. And we're going to have a little more shot stability as well. So it's especially helpful on the sniper rifle, but it doesn't hurt. And then the handling, obviously, is time to aim and recoil management. So because I'm boosting both of those things with these two pieces, these guns are more stable than what they would normally be. So, but I'm risking it because notice that there's no health regen or injury resistance or anything else here. I am putting health regen again on my hat, my pants, and then you need that plus 20% ammo. It's just enough to give me about 175 rounds with my main sniper rifle. And with the M14, it's more than enough rounds for that as well. Excuse me, boots, health regen and stamina regen. I have a ton of choices, but nothing that's really sexy. I would really like to get maybe a little bit of like a health regen and some injury resistance, but whatever, it works. This is just what I'm running with. I'm not saying that these are choices you should absolutely make. Health regen could easily be switched out for injury resistance, but I took a potion before we started inside the bivouac to give me the plus 40 injury resistance, and then I always have on my body, I call them Red Bulls as a joke, but these little potions here, which gives me plus 5 reload speed for 10 minutes. So between the two of them, I feel pretty confident about what we've got. I always have pretty much the same setup on my wheel as well. I always have my dexterity ration there. I always use syringe, sink shot drones, and then my EMPs. Really, these slots I don't use for much of anything else, so they're always there just for when we go to supercomputer. And the rocket launcher always comes in handy for supercomputer for the red drones. So, but in addition to using these weapons and these things, I'm using these different perks. Ballistic Advantage, obviously, to give me more range and, again, adding handling. And Rolling Thunder, it's really a toss-up, guys. Rolling Thunder apparently doesn't seem to be working for the boss fights, but you know what? It works everywhere else. So to get that extra weapon damage and the damage of drones, I'm going to keep it on, just in case. Close and personal I use all the time. It's a personal preference. The reload speed is dramatically faster. It's not really necessary on these two weapons though, so I could easily switch that to something different. You could use Pack Mule. I don't know why you would, but you could. You could certainly use Sensor Hack. Drone Hunter we use when we get inside a supercomputer. Things like Feel No Pain. I mean, I already have 40% injury resistance, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. And I don't get injured all that much. The health regen would be nice with Cold-Blooded, but again, these are all personal choices if you want to run something different. Inspired, Survivalist. Gunslinger's nice. The only reason I don't run Gunslinger is because Gunslinger doesn't work when you get into a boss fight. Let me rephrase that. It works on all the ads. In other words, like these 3 players that we run against. It's going to work against all of them. You're going to see Gunslinger kick in, and it makes the gun extremely accurate when you do that. But when you're shooting the boss, you don't get the perk for Gunslinger. It only works for every hit on regular AI. Bosses it doesn't work on. So because it doesn't, I would rather during a boss fight be able to reload that 15% faster. Gives me that speed. And then actually with my M14, let's see where she's at, which is good. 21% damage to drones and 27% reload speed. I'm not complaining about either one of those. Handling's maxed out. Accuracy's not exactly maxed out, but I'll take 34% accuracy. I can live with that. So that's the basic setup of it. Now the harder part is, how do you run around with an M14? Oh, by the way, very important here, M14 I'm putting on here, handling and damage to drones. If you don't have the M82 Cerberus, by the way, what I would do is I would craft my little heart out until I got, now I use the survival only because I like it, because I think it's sexy, but I would use you could use a regular M82. It's the same, basically the same exact gun, it just looks different. That's all. There's no difference between the M82 survival and a regular M82. They both do the 167 damage until you get into a boss fight, and then they do like 204, 207. It's still under what the Cerberus will do, but if you don't have that gun yet, no problem. Just grab any M82. Why M82 versus a TAC 50? Because an M82 as a sniper, the only thing you have to get used to is the bounce. So whenever you fire a shot, it lifts its head up, and then the scope drops back down again. When you're using it, a TAC 50, which used to be one of my favorite weapons. Let's do this the easy way here. We cycle by type. There you go. We get to our sniper rifles. I obviously have a lot of choices. Scorpion Scout's a great weapon too. It goes up to about 184 for a boss fight, but it doesn't take advantage of Rolling Thunder because it is a DMR, so I don't tend to use it. But the fire rate is pretty darn quick. HTI survival, the HTIs have a fire rate of about 90 rounds per minute. M82s have 130 rounds per minute. I don't even use the Paladins because they're too low. The Recons just hit a little bit too soft. The TAC 50 is a great gun, but it's around 110. Don't quote me, but I think it's around 110 rounds per minute. You just have to let that bolt go for each time that you go in between changing rounds. So it's just, the M82s just allow you to fire much more quickly if you can learn to adjust to them. So if you play with this, again, it's very dangerous. You're not safe by any means. You would almost be safer in this build, in this loadout, if you were to switch over to, like, say, the CPF ball, if you have it. But again, if you get good with some of this stuff, you're there. You could also, if you were really going to get in trouble and you wanted to be safe, or you were afraid of getting in trouble, you wanted to be safe, you could throw some grenades on here. You could throw some flashbangs on here. Let's get used up on my flashbangs. No, they're there. You could throw some flashbangs too, which would also help a little bit. But where's the fun of the safe, right? So again, the idea is, like, how are you gonna use this? I mean, let's see what's out here real quick. That obviously isn't even half the camp. So we'll get in a little closer. Actually, you know what? Good question would be too is how, because this is relevant, how strong are these enemies? So we gotta go over to settings. Here we go. So parameters. Okay, I'm going extreme, I guess. Confirm, so I have all the stuff. So these guys should be pretty aware, and their damage is pretty deadly. All right, so I should get my butt kicked here. Rock on. Looks like a dude up there. That is a dude up there. I am taking part of this quietly, because I would rather take them on my terms. Now there's two guys there. What I want to do is get down to that other room so we can start taking some of these guys at our own pace. Use a... Why did I just hear that? Getting a little close here, so I'll do that, but here you go. Just go to a third-person view.
Nothing to report.
Ooh, here comes that guy too, huh? Alright. Stuff's gonna eventually go down here because this guy's gonna peek through that doorway, isn't he?
Whoa.
Oh, what is he doing?
Echo 2's hit!
Oh, Echo 2's hit. Shut up. Let's put on our health kit so we're ready to go. The wolf's right there at the door.
But I keep coming back to it. I guess that shows you what I really love, right?
So again, you see that you can use this gun just like it was any other gun. Now it's obviously very easy to do when stuff gets hot, right? Let's piss off the whole crew here. I'm sorry, it's very easy to do when things are calm. What happens when it goes hot? Boom! It's hot now. Let's find out. See if we can't get dangerous. There's our reload speed. Oh, would have been nice if I hit him, huh? Reload speed a lot faster too when you're not and had an empty clip. I should really have some health built in there. The hallway of death. But again, I mean, what it's doing is you can play the regular game. My whole point in taking over this base real quick is just to show you, look, you can play the game. It'll still be effective. Ooh, he was a surprise. You can still be effective using this weapon. As if it was any other gun. Left? Where is he? Alright, he gets special treatment. Alright, so again, and by the way, too, these aren't like, you know, the simplest of enemies. We are playing on extreme. So, like it was the easiest thing in the world. But, if you practice with it, especially if you're shooting this thing third person. If you were to shoot it first person, you could obviously use one of the two scopes. It is pretty nice if you're going for a long range shot. You can put something into somebody, but third person, super easy to shoot this one. And then first person with your sniper, you have two different choices. So this is great for me, at least, for supercomputer. And then for long range shots, piece of cake. Notice too that scope's moving around a little, but not as bad as it normally would. Then, again, your regular M14 does a great job. So, again, the point is what you would basically do. I guess I could have done this before when before I killed all these guys, so we would get our special back. But, you know, load your hot rounds in your M14. And then you're running around with your Cerberus or M82, whatever it is. You went down to a boss fight. Say this was the boss fight, your first set of rounds. You always want to crouch and fire 2. You're going to get more stability. First set of rounds, get rid of those hot rounds. Switch over to your Cerberus. And then switch to the next computer. Hopefully by that time you've got your hot rounds back again if you've landed enough. And go again. Again, real simple on the setup, real simple on the build. These can be substituted. These are nice extra benefits. Look on the bright side. If you don't have this Pathfinder stuff yet, especially not at 300 to go into the harder raids, no big deal. Use something else for now that has more survivability, so it makes it easier. And then just know that once you're able to get these guns on, or these pieces on there, you can make it build even stronger. I'm not saying you're going to love it, having these on there. You may say, Bear, you're crazy, man. I like that medic vest. I'm rocking the medic vest because... well, where is my medic vest on this guy? There he is. Medic vest. Love him. I love the medic vest. Damage resistance and health regen speed. It's awesome to give you that extra survivability. Sometimes you need that, but or the commissar vest. Some people love it because of the extra ammo. You rock whatever you're comfortable with. I'm just saying that for me, this has been my way of being as accurate as possible, putting out as much damage as possible. As always, these are just things that I do and things that I use to be able to put out just a little bit more damage for my team, if I've got a team that can support that. And if you play around with these weapons long enough, you're able to get it. And I realize the Cerberus M82 is a big dog, 237 damage. But at the same time, it only has built into it, the 9% damage to drones. So if you were to grab, that other, where'd she go? The other M82 I had, the survival, that's got handling and damage to drones. Now it's instantly going to handle better. And it's going to have more damage to drones. Or you can do handling and reload speed. The choices are infinite. Lots of stuff you can do, depending on what you feel. You're not locked in. If you don't have these guns, it's no big deal. You can craft a 250 M14. You can craft a 250 M82 and be fine. Just have some fun with it. But give this a try, especially for a supercomputer, if your team can support you with it. Because drones can be a little bit tricky. But it's a blast. It really is. So anyway, high damage output sniper build. Hopefully this helps somebody out there. This is my new favorite, and I'm going to be running this all the time, so you'll see it in our new videos. But in fact, you'll see this in one of the critical runs we did yesterday. It was just under an hour. So we're having some fun with it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, man, thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully you guys find this helpful. And have found some of the content, or most of the content, helpful. Alright, see you guys out there.